E=Y presents Building Trust with Effective Communications. Communications is the imparting or exchanging of information. There are a few common types of communication: verbal, nonverbal, and written. There are numerous channels that we communicate through today, and it is continuously growing. Traditionally, you had in-person, handwritten, or phone, but that's been extended to email, text, instant messaging, video, and social media, but the list continues to grow. There are also many different reasons for which we need to communicate, whether it's provide information, express how one is feeling, inspire one's imagination to motivate others, influence other points of view, ensure action is taken, or simply to build relationships. Effective communication is the most powerful tool in a leader's toolkit. However, it is often the most likely to be ignored. Let's talk about why that might be. Ignorance. Leaders don't always recognize or appreciate what their audiences crave, or they don't realize that when they are not deliberately communicating, they are actually sending nonverbal messaging that they don't care. In many cases, they simply forget. They know what's going on. They know that everything is okay. They just assume that everyone else knows what is going on as well. It may also be that they have a distaste for meetings, writing status reports, summarizing information, etc. But most often, leaders avoid communications because they want to avoid difficult conversations. But the truth of the matter is when leaders don't communicate, they fail to meet the basic needs of people. WIFM is the what's in it for me. Individuals crave direction, having a sense of purpose and focus. They want to be part of a successful team, feel included, grow through enablement and empowerment, and ultimately they want to feel secure. The way to bridge that gap and provide those basic needs is by being vulnerable and deliberate through strong communications. It is important to remember that when information is not provided, people fill the information gap with their own story. Although there might be significant work that's already being done in each of these areas, if it is not communicated, they will perceive there is nothing being done. There is no such thing as over-communicating. It is a leader's job to get people to take action, to help people get from point A to point B. In addition to meeting the WIFM, leaders need to communicate along the journey. Rather than allowing stories to fill the vacuum, leaders are responsible to own the story, to express where they are, why the team should engage, and how they are successfully executing, or perhaps even need to course correct. Effective communications magnify the E3 framework to influence change and deliver results. This framework requires leaders to be effective communicators. The better leaders communicate, the faster the results and greater the impact. Let's think about it. Express. The purpose is to set clear expectations and desired outcomes, but words matter. A leader needs to clearly articulate and paint the picture of the end goal, sharing what it looks like, what it feels like, how it will be different. This is not meant to be a step-by-step set of instructions. It is meant to be inspirational, to get people thinking outside their comfort zone. Martin Luther King rallied a generation with his speech, "I have a dream." He helped people believe that change was possible. He invoked the emotions. The result of a great expressed vision is to get people feeling excited, passionate, curious, and empowered. Next, leaders engage the team through continuous communications. They leverage the rule of 3. Things need to be communicated a minimum of 3 times in 3 different formats to ensure the message is connecting with all different personality types. Everyone has many things in flux at any given time, and most information can be missed. Also, communication is a two-way exchange. Therefore, leaders always want to solicit feedback. They want to be aware and listening so that they can validate their understanding and foster collaboration. In the execution phase, strong communication is also essential. First, it is critical to provide updates on the results. It provides the transparency and accountability that people want. The next element is to provide continuous feedback. Feedback is the most powerful tool for delivering results, as it is an opportunity to reward great behaviors as a reinforcement to continue their actions, or use it as an opportunity to adjust accordingly. Lastly, effective communications is critical to connect to the hearts of others. Effective communications is rooted in the ability to care deeply. Caring deeply is a critical element to build trust and engage others. If they feel their leader cares, if they feel valued, if they trust, they engage and commit to the end result and exert extra effort when needed. They will think about what else they can do rather than just doing what they were told or asked. Leaders know how to build that trust by connecting to their hearts. What is trust? There's really two key elements. One is intent, which is the commitment to act with integrity, authenticity, gratefulness, empathy, as well as truly empower and enable others. Second, it's about building trust through clear and open communications to be able to demonstrate that intent. There are a number of different stages of trust. Some people will start at a place of trust and say, I trust you until you do something wrong. This is trust until. Others will start at a place of doubt. I don't trust you until you earn my respect and trust. We refer to that as doubt until. Unfortunately, there are others that have little or no trust, and no matter what you do, they will always doubt you. These are not productive team members, and they live in a state of doubt still. However, the ideal state is to agree on a state of trust still. High-performing teams excel in these environments. The participants know the intent is good and are open and transparent in their communications. Step one is to set expectations up front. Here's what I need. Here is how you can get the best results. Here is what I can commit to. This is an explicit agreement of expectations or the intent. The next is part of that expectation is that if I do something contrary to that agreement, you will speak up and let me know. You will assume that I did not mean it, that my intent was good, but something was either lost in the translation, misunderstood, or another issue is impacting my behaviors. And lastly, it's about discussing how to improve it on an ongoing basis. What will you do differently going forward? This is about open communication. Intent is about being vulnerable and deliberate in your actions, to care about those you are interacting with. By being human, personal, and emotional, a leader demonstrates that they care deeply and can be trusted. When a leader takes actions that demonstrate the desire to help the individual and not harm them, they can sense those intentions are good. And when acting with good intention, a leader is saying, I care about you and I want you to succeed. There are a number of different human and emotional qualities that, when leveraged, can demonstrate the good intent and build trust with others. Awareness. It's about listening to what others want, feel, need, and then respond as they need you to respond. Authenticity is about being yourself, not pretending to be someone you are not. Integrity is about doing the right thing when others are not looking. Gratitude, demonstrating genuine appreciation. Empathy is taking other situation into consideration and reacting accordingly. Curiosity is about asking questions and being interested in what is going on. Enablement is helping others have a better sense of themselves. Courage is being willing to do and say things that are not easy. And empowerment is giving others the spotlight to shine. So let's put some of this into action. First, the best way to start to build a relationship and trust is to set expectations up front. This entails candidly sharing what each party needs and how they expect the others to show up and participate. An example could simply be, if I'm on time, I expect everyone else to be on time. I like to work better in a group than in an individual setting. The E3 leadership program profile, the Clarity 4D tool, and the E3 methodology are all tools that can be used to help create those open dialogues with others and set expectations up front. Teaming agreements are also another way to help set expectations. Here's an example of one team that put together their agreement of our commitment is to an open and trusting team. We agree to trust that everyone on the team has good intent, and we will conduct all interactions and resolve all conflicts with this agreement in mind. We agree to be open, direct, and mindful in our communications. We have agreed to a number of values, standard operating procedures, and team behaviors as the standard to which we hold each other accountable to. These are explicit examples on how best to work together. Then, if someone appears to violate the agreement, it is our responsibility to address it directly with that person as quickly as possible. And this is also a living document that is to be reviewed periodically and updated when needs happen. Next, leaders commit to always assuming positive intent. They start from a place of trust still. I'm going to trust others and assume that they do something that seems contrary to what I would expect or need them. I will ask them if everything is okay. If a leader believes that no one wakes up with bad intent to hurt others, then it must mean other things are happening in their life that needs to be explored. Next, create a commitment to communications. Establish a plan to ensure there is continuous communications. One of the reasons leaders don't communicate is because they simply forget. Structure serves as a reminder. As an individual leader, team leader, or an executive, the job is to keep people informed and engaged. So at the start of every project meeting, communications clearly express the desired outcome. Establish a cadence that shares the when, what, how, and why you will communicate. Will there be status reports? Will there be town halls? Are there newsletters, team meetings, or one-on-ones, or something different? But you want to set the expectation. Next, remember that communication is a two-way street. Set up methods for soliciting feedback. If you're a team leader, you may want to create skip level meetings. As an individual, there could be opportunities to do surveys. You could ask questions, create a reputation. I love feedback. And lastly, encourage best practices for all communications. What are the preferred forums and expectations? When you are actually communicating, what are guidelines to think about? Let's talk about some of those. You want to take advantage of every correspondence with others, whether it is in person, whether it's email, whether it's phone, whether it's instant messaging. Think about both the content and the audience. The goal is to build trust. That means the intent and effective communications. Thinking about intent first, what are you trying to communicate? Why? In addition, ensure you know the audience. The impact will be a message that is vulnerable and deliberate. It will be to the point, personalized, and help others understand the message, why it is important, and inspire them to take action. So from a content perspective, continuously ask yourself as you're preparing, what am I communicating? Who am I communicating with? Why am I communicating? How should I communicate? Is it email, text message? What's going to land best? When should I do it? Morning, evening, right before a big event, right after a big event? What action would I like the audience to take? Be explicit, put it up front, be action oriented. Think about different people's behavioral preferences, direct or personal. Are they very data oriented? Are they blue energy? So think about the content and the audience, right? What forum do they prefer? How will they process information? How much context do they already have? Do they have a bias on the information that you might be sharing? How do you make it easy for them to share their response and consider what else might be going on in their world? In conclusion, as leaders, the goal is to help create a high-performing team, a team that is all in the same boat, rowing in the same direction towards a common goal to deliver success. Trust is core to building the relationships in the team. Start by demonstrating good intent and then effectively communicating. Thank you.